What's up, guys? My name is David Powell, and this is Powell Sports Media, my small sports show where I discuss some of my favorite topics and athletes. Let's get into it. Yeah. Today, I wanted to talk about the Detroit Red Wings. Last I discussed the team, they had dropped 2 straight games to Buffalo and New York, and they weren't playing very good hockey if you had asked me at that point. Since then, though, the team seems to be back to its winning ways. Last Saturday, the Wings hosted the St. Louis Blues in the opening game of a home-and-home. That game started with the Blues going up 4-0 by about the 3-minute mark of the second period. At this point, we had turned it off at my house. We didn't really think there was any point in watching our team get smoked. We very much thought the game was over. To our surprise, though, the Red Wings, they came all the way back. They tied it halfway through the third period before Simon Edvinsson scored 2 more goals to put the game out of the reach for the Blues. Pretty crazy comeback, truly remarkable comeback from Detroit in this one. And I think it definitely shows that the team has some grit to come back. And you'll see that later in one of the games I'm going to just discuss. But pretty crazy game from them. Next, the Wings traveled to St. Louis for the second game in that home-and-home stance. This one wasn't as close as the first one. St. Louis did score the first goal of the game, but the Wings then rattled off 4 straight to take the momentum. Game was really never in question after that, and Detroit coasted to a 5-2 win. Finally, Detroit played the Los Angeles Kings last night. The team is beginning a West Coast stint of the road trip that they are on, so it's going to be interesting how they perform moving forward. West Coast trips are notoriously rough for the team. Obviously, you got the time change and stuff. That's what I think, affects them. But West Coast trips are usually pretty tough on East Coast teams. Again, in this game, the opponent scored first. Just like last game, the Wings came back, though, and they scored several goals in a row. This time it was 3, back-to-back-to-back. Going into the final 2 minutes of the game, the Wings were up 3-1, hoping to coast to the win in this one. But the Kings made a quick comeback, and they tied the game, actually, to send it into overtime with 2 goals in the last, like I said, 2 minutes. Pretty crazy. After that, though, is where the game really got crazy, a little funky. During overtime, it appeared that LA, they scored to end the game, but the referees ruled that there was goaltender interference, meaning that goal didn't count. So the teams had to come back out and finish the game. The game was not decided in that overtime period. Instead, it went to a shootout. Needed a shootout to decide the winner, and it was the Wings that actually came out on top on this one with a 4-3 win. So it's a couple wins in the last weeks that have shown that the team has grit and that they can win even when they're down and even when they face adversity. So I think a couple of these wins, we might be able to look back on later in the season and say, hey, it's a good thing that we came back and won these ones. So couple really good games from the team. Up next, the Wings play the Anaheim Ducks, the San Jose Sharks, and the Vegas Golden Knights. All in that West Coast trip I was just talking about, all before they come back to Little Caesars Arena for a game against the Rangers. The Wings currently have an 8-3 record. They're tied for first in the Atlantic Division. But that's all I've got today for you. A little bit shorter of an episode than normal, but I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, and I hope to see you all next time. Yeah.